Hey everybody, Quantum here, and in this video we're going to be showing you some more gameplay for Set 8 Reign of Jafar. This time I'll be testing my version 8.1 of Ruby Amethyst going up against my friend's Ruby Amber list. You know, Ruby Amber, the MUFASA lists have traditionally had a pretty good matchup into Ruby Amethyst. The Rapunzel redraw and just you not being able to interact with their stuff if it just stays ready besides be prepared can be a bit of an issue, but again, like I've talked about, the new Hades that is introduced in this set in Reign of Jafar makes these mid-range matchups so much better for you to the point where you don't even care about their Rapunzel draw anymore. So here you're going to see my friend go first, go for their card soldiers on turn 1, which synergizes well with their deck because it's going to be able to become a 3-2 body once they deploy that Mother Gothel, of which you don't really have a way to interact with, which means they have a pretty clean setup into the Rapunzel turn 4 if they do have it. So here I'm struggling a little bit to decide what to ink, and I go for inking of the Shark in order to play my Palace Guard. Another matchup where Palace Guard could be very good simply because there's not a lot that the opponent's going to have on their end in order to interact with the Palace Guard to trigger that Vanish ability. So as expected, you know, on curve, they're going to go Mother Gothel. Now they have a 3-4 in Mother Gothel, as well as a 3-2 in the card soldiers. Pretty overpowered statted cards on turns 1 and 2, but you know, our cards are pretty strong as well with that 1-4 stat line, and you can see here another just matchup out of nowhere where you know the 4 toughness actually matters on these characters. So I ink the Hypnotic Strength after drawing into a couple of uninkables in a row here, and I'm going to deploy the Brawl on the Gaston. The Gaston is a pretty important target to hit in this matchup, akin to what you would use Brawl for in the Emerald matchups on the Diablos and stuff. The Gaston facilitates such strong lines of play for Amber Ruby that you just really need to deal with it when it hits the board. If it comes down later on, it's not really much of a threat, but on curve, you really want to deal with it. Even if they go for the Doc, if they are playing the Doc and Gaston combination, I would say it's still a good Brawl target. And, you know, my opponent here is the one on the play. So we're on the draw, we're on the back foot, but you can see the tempo swing here is huge as they miss their 4 drop. So they don't have like a Sven or a Rapunzel or a Rhea. Like these are all cards that could be adapted into this list. And partly because they probably saw in their hand, I have the curve out for the Gaston play to play, you know, like a Madame Medusa or something on 6, and that would cost 6, sorry, on turn 4, but they obviously didn't anticipate that I was going to have that Brawl for their Gaston, or maybe they did anticipate it and took the risk anyways. So here we're going to end up singing the friends on the other side with the Genie. We can afford to play a little bit slow since we know that Mufasa decks, Amber Ruby decks generally are not on Be Prepared, so that means we're going to be able to set the board reset in motion when we want on our own terms. In my Amber Ruby decks, I do play Be Prepared. The card is just that strong, which is crazy to say that originally I wanted to try Ruby Amethyst without it, but I will continue to try Ruby Amethyst without Be Prepared, because I just want to see if it can ever work better that way. But I think I'm going to be disappointed every time. So here you can see our hand is a little rough, right, with the double Hades and the B prep, but I know as soon as I get to that 7 ink, I'm going to be off to the races here. And you see me deploy that Maui early just to slow down any potential questing from the opponent. They're on 0 and they were on the play. For a deck that really focuses on tempo, they're definitely behind the 8 ball here. They do get some card draw finally in the Surfer Stitch hitting the board. This is a big body that can be hard to deal with, but they know, my friend is a very experienced Amber Ruby player, that if they opt to turn that Mufasa sideways, if I do have the Be Prepared, I can Maui or just challenge the Mufasa. Whatever they proc off of it, I can just follow up with the Be Prepared. So it's a very weird situation for them. But here you can see me saying, oh yeah, let me sequence things correctly. Put down the Hades, draw 2, get the quest off with the Genie since it has evasive, quest with the Cusco since, hey, go ahead and banish it, I'll draw my card. And if you watch my 8.1 deck profile, you know kind of how this deck is expected to play out. What I will say is this matchup isn't still the best for Ruby Amethyst, but it's definitely much improved because once the Hades turns itself sideways, it's easy for them to throw something into it, put 3 damage on one of their characters, which is maximum Rapunzel value. Obviously, being 3 strength as well puts me in a difficult position, because if they do have Madame Medusa as follow through, that instantly outs the Hades. But hey, this is why Hades is actually half decent for Ruby Amethyst, because I get the ability on play. You guys can see the difference, right? How worse something is when it's not on the play, when it's only on like quest, or you have to exert it to proc the ability. Being on the play, or sorry, I shouldn't say being on the play, because that's confusing with who's going first or second, but being on and entering play, or entering the battlefield, it is so much stronger here. So they take out the Cusco, we draw into a Diablo here, and then they're able to ink and re-ready. And again, they're just going on a wide board, but this is where that be prepared insurance like is so important in these kind of matchups. None of us are really overextending too much, but I'm definitely the aggressor now. So you can kind of see, even though my opponent went first, I am the one who's now dictating the pace of play. We quest with the Hades, and if you let me quest with this Hades, like I said in the deck profile, it's almost effectively over. We don't have a Maui Shark again. We did ink one in the beginning of the game, but you can kind of see the line here where if we did get into a Maui Shark, we've got Be Prepared, Board Wipe, the opponent's unlimited cards. We have infinite cards in hand. We've got the Queen's Castle for follow-up. They're not going to have ways to answer this right away. If they do have a way to answer it, we do have Peter Pan Shadow and Maui Shark, which both can come down in the same turn. If we have 9 ink, which we're very closely approaching now, getting the 8th ink with that. You can see how overpowering this deck can be. And my opponent here is just stuck with things in a ready state on their board. And I'm just like, I don't even care if I Be Prepared my 2 Hades here. I'm just going all out aggression, because one of these turns, I'm just going to quest out, and then I'm just going to wipe the board. And I'm so far ahead at this point, like, it doesn't even matter. So I'm starting to turn my stuff sideways now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to put the pressure on, because I plan to board wipe next turn anyways. Don't have to worry about anything like a Pete or anything messing up my plans in the non-steel matchups. That is something you have to consider in the steel matchups, right? So play towards not getting completely blown out by a singular card. If you watch my matchups from last set, I was able to beat my opponent's Amber Emerald discard deck simply because I top decked the Pete, and it stopped him from singing Under the Sea to wipe my board, which was kind of funny. But like, that's the risk you play when you play these decks that are so reliant on a certain strategy. And Ruby Amethyst, well, Be Prepared is very important. It's not solely reliant on this. And here you can see the double Rapunzel comes into play. I don't even care. Like, he replenished his hand, but I'm so far ahead. Despite being on the draw, I'm at 11 lore. I'm going to be able to board wipe. You have to answer my board here. You can't let me re-ready this board. You can see the control that we're exerting in this matchup here. Pun intended. You know, being able to exert our stuff, putting my opponent on. You can't really exert your stuff. If I top deck a Shark, right, on 9 ink next turn, I don't even have to Be Prepared. I can just go Peter Pan Shadow Shark and start gaining extra value off of that. Recur friends, sing friends, quest with Hades, draw like 15 million cards. What you're not gonna out advantage Ruby Amethyst anymore. Like, my draw engines are faster now. They're more efficient than waiting for for rabbit, bounce, and stuff like that. Still a very strong engine, but you can see the top end of what you're going to be able to do. You can see the benefit of things like these 1/4 bodies, especially the Queen of Hearts being a 4/4, being able to, on my own terms, proc that ability by putting the 2 damage on the Queen of Hearts with the Hades to make it a 4/4. My opponent's trades here are just not going to be efficient, right? They're going to be able to crash out the card soldiers finally. They're going to be able to, I guess, quest with the Mother Gothel, and then throw damage or throw the Surfer Stitch. Crazy. Surfer Stitch has to trade. Can't even quest for 2. Has to trade into the Queen of Hearts. No more Rapunzel value here, but they do have a Julieta to draw an extra card. They're thinking about what they want to do. They got so many cards in hand too. So you can see Amber Ruby still a viable deck. They're going to, off of the ink, ready back up the Surfer Stitch. And then again, the 4 toughness, the 4 willpower coming into play here. They're forced to use the Surfer Stitch because it's the only thing with decent strength to overcome that 1/4 body. Like, this is crazy that my opponent had to forcibly use their best card on the board to clear 1 and 2 drops, right? And it still did significant damage into the Surfer Stitch, because now, look at this. I top decked the Shark, and I'm looking at my discard. I'm like, oh my, like, my options are limitless here, right? I could sing the B prep. I could follow up with a castle. Like, this is crazy what you're able to do now with Ruby Amethyst. Not that I would want to sing B prep because I'm greedy. I want that card draw off that Hades, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I probably overpaid, but I was just like, I love this Hades so much. I'm buying two at $16 each for the foils. $16 Canadian, which is probably like $12 USD for the foil Hades. I need one more for my third. Probably want two more for a full playset, but I think three is the way to go. But you guys can see in this matchup, right? Trust me, I know. I played against my friend and I've lost against his Amber Ruby a decent amount with Ruby Amethyst. I don't fear this matchup anymore. I actually feel good in this matchup now. It might be a different story if he opts to include Be Prepared in his Mufasa deck, which I think you might want to do. But yeah, it's crazy here. Okay, what am I doing here exactly? I quest with the Hades, put more damage on the Maui since I'm going to throw Maui into the Surfer Stitch. I don't even need to B Prep wipe the board. Do I even play B Prep in this match? I don't even know. I guess I don't, because look at this value here. Like I just said, if I drew into a shark, which I was gonna draw 3 for the turn, this is crazy. Take out the Rhea, Maui take like there's like why am I even commentating this match anymore? Like, do you guys just see the insane value? Like, I'm constantly getting positive trades. I'm in control of the match. Like, to be fair, I am hyping this up a lot. So if my friend ever ends up watching this and gets this far in the video, he did miss his 4-drop, but I already explained, like, he was probably dependent upon the Gaston line. And I think he missed the 6-drop or something as well. So his hand just, wasn't gassed up enough. But this is what happens when you play tempo-oriented deck. This happens to Ruby Amethyst too, right? We play the 8 1-drops, 8 2-drops, 8 3-drops. There is chances that, there is the odds that we do miss a 2-drop, a 3-drop, whatever, right? I think I missed one of my drops too. I think I missed a 2-drop or a 3-drop on my end, and my opponent ended up missing their 4-drop, right? Because again, of the Gaston play. And I would take that risk too if I was on Amber Ruby. I would play for the Gaston. It's that good of a line. But you can see here the end result is, while he ends up clawing his way back in terms of card advantage, he's just way too far behind now in terms, like, I've got a shark on board that he can't really answer either. Down comes the Tremaine, sure, to get rid of Peter Pan Shadow. I've got evasive threats that he can't really deal with. Like, the shark here threatens just game by playing 4 actions, right? I've got a Friends, I've got Pirate's Life, which is like, that's just game. Friends and Pirate's Life is game, right? That's +4 lore, because 2 off of the 2 actions, 2 off of the Pirate's Life. They just can't even deal with the shark. So shark showing its teeth, pun intended there too, I guess. I don't know. I had the second shark. I could sing Pirate's Life, hard cast Friends, gain even more lore. But yeah, that's going to be a GG. And yeah, I was just telling my friend, like, I had so much gas in my hand. I had so many different lines. B prep, sing, B prep, deploy castle, draw cards from castle, draw cards from Hades, draw cards from Friends, from Genie. Like, you can see the benefit of the 8.1 deck list. That's going to wrap it up for this video though, guys. We'll have match 2 coming your way soon. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, Quantum is out.